Hello and welcome to Vision IS. We are here with All India Rank 20, Dr. P. Srija. Please introduce yourself to our aspirants.
Hello, ma'am. This is Dr. P. Srija, and I'm from Hyderabad, Telangana. I've secured All India Rank 20 in Civil Services Examination 2020 this year. And yes, ma'am, this is about me.
Okay. So, congratulations, first of all, for this exceptional success which you have achieved. So,
Thank you.
tell me something about your preparation. When did you decide that you want to get into civil services, and what is the main motivation behind that?
Firstly, civil services was introduced to me by my father. Obviously, it's your parents who guide you towards the right path, and then, but still, since I was very interested towards sciences, I landed up being a doctor. But during the internship and MBBS, I've understood that an administrator can create a huge impact in the health sector itself. And my mother, since she was a nurse also, she used to say me like what difference a doctor and an administrator can do in health sector. So, and yes, there were many instances also during my internship which made me to get drive towards civil services. So this was how I went into the path of civil services.
Okay, so you are a doctor, and we definitely see a lot of doctors coming into the services. And you spoke about some of your incidences. Would you like to share any one of those incidences which you thought was your trigger that, okay, maybe I need to do and get and become a civil servant?
There are many incidents actually for any doctor, I think, because we tend to see the society to a very ground level during our postings during the 5 years and during the internship. We tend to hear the stories of the people directly, and I think doctor and lawyer are the only people who tend to hear your secrets very closely. And yeah, that was something. There were many stories in that way. I can't specify one, but yes,
Yeah.
there were many complexities in the societies that I can say that that have motivated me.
Okay. So you understood that, just by being a doctor, uh, you will not be able to give the most effective treatment to the society. So you won't have to be at a different place, and you are now, right? You will be an IS officer, and hopefully you will be able to do that. So, when did you said it's in your internship, right? When this thought came into your mind. So, what were the first things, the most initial things which you started doing for your journey towards civil services?
Ma'am, I think it's very subjective to a person in any field to create a mark. I think it's not the post, it's not the power also, very frankly, that it is the person who is going to bring the change which she or he visualizes. So I think I could have been this person being a doctor also, but I was looking at the opportunities which this platform is going to provide me. So that was the reason, ma'am. And what I have started with,
Yeah.
it was during internship, ma'am. That
Yeah.
during internship, when I have decided that I have to write my UPSC during 2020, I thought I need to know what is this UPSC is all about. At least know what are the subjects present. Should I read again a number of books, and is it possible that I can at least clear it like within few attempts? So I started discussing it with the seniors who have already been into this preparation. And my seniors, I can say this, that my seniors were very honest in disclosing their errors during this process, because time is something which is very valuable. And the mistakes which they made, when they tend to say you honestly, they also point out that you shouldn't make that mistake. That's a big investment for any aspirant, and that was directly credited into my account from them. So that was also one of the reason which pushed me towards doing it in the first attempt. So yes, ma'am, this was the ground. I was doing the resources, what all subjects are present, how should I make a strategy for different subject in different way. This was all the thing which I was doing during the process of 2018 to 19, so that when I go to 2019, I should just be following my strategy. That's it.
Okay, so you did that groundwork, you understood the exam, right? That's
Exactly.
basically what you did. And the good thing is that you had people, right? You said this very nicely that, you got the credit from what their mistakes were, that and you learned from that, right?
Yes.
You absorbed that. So that gave you a good groundwork. So
Mhm.
2019, you finish your internship, right? And then you start your preparation. So tell us about that initial journey, right? 1 year of preparation you had. What was your plan for that 1 year?
The plan which I finalized and kept improvising was this thing that the initial few months I'm going to finish off my optional and ethics, because ethics is something which we are going to ignore because it is not part of your prelims, and it is something which you're going to touch only during the time of mains. And ethics is not something which you get overnight. It is something which you as a person have to change to make that change be visible in your answer also. So that was something which I identified. And regarding optional, it also depends on the kind of optional you're going to select. It doesn't, it is not easy to take an optional like medical sciences also. Not saying that I've done it, because there'll be many people who will be having this doubt that can we take medical sciences because we are a doctor, MBBS doctor. I think you have to invest equal amount of time as you are doing for other optionals also, because the demand of UPSC is different from what your university has taught you. So you have to assemble all those things, keep making your notes, and then keep addressing the UPSC's needs. So it takes time. So I think optional needs time, and you have to allot the equal amount of time. So optional ethics goes first. Once I'm done with it, I'll be doing the major subjects. Mostly they'll go parallelly, but probably they'll take more time than they actually have to. Then once the major subjects are done, then I'll go with the minor subjects also, because mains, prelims is actually subset of mains, mathematically speaking. Because in prelims you can expect any kind of bit and any kind of question, and when you have a perspective of mains, it makes the process more and more easier. You don't tend to make separate notes for prelims and very specifically, and then you will keep revising the same matter several times, so that mains you can just write the test series altogether at once. This was my plan then. Yeah, I've implemented in the same way also now.
Okay. So let's talk about these things in parts. First, about your medical science optional. You have done exceptionally well. You have 298 marks, which is the second highest in the country. So that is exceptional. Plus, having an optional which has a very extensive syllabus, and there is always this doubt, like you've said, that what should this optional be taken, right? I'm an MBBS, should I be taking this or should I go for the social science optional, right? So what do you think are the factors that should be kept in mind for this making this choice?
For me, it was clear that I'm going to choose this optional which doesn't make me bored. If I'm going to take humanities, is no easy task to be done. Be it anthropology, sociology, they look simpler at the name, but you need to drive deep into that subject to get the idea of, and also analyze the subject, how it goes about. And it is equally challenging to write a very good answer, which can fetch you marks in such kind of optionals. I thought I'm not very much competent to write such humanities, and at least because I'm not having that much time to be allotted for them, because GS, the subjects in GS are altogether very new to me. It has been 8 years then that I haven't even touched economics and all. So I need to give time to them, and going on for a new subject is not something which I have to do. These were the two things which I was thinking, ma'am. And speaking about the score, I think larger percentage of it will go to my college, Usmania Medical College, and the teachers who have taught me, the patients who have been literally that questions which make you to analyze the issue, like what is this symptom for, what is this disease for, and how you have to treat the patient. And larger amount of credit goes to my college also, the way how they taught us and the patient exposure which we got, that made us more competent to address the needs of medical sciences.
Okay. So the point which you have brought to our attention actually is relevant to all optionals. I think that when we are studying something in the graduation, we are more about facts and learning about that. But UPSC wants you to go into that analytical aspect, right? So if you are choosing a social science optional, you should see that do you have the time to develop that analysis, right? And you felt more comfortable with medical science, and you say your college taught you in that way, right? So you had an experience, that exposure, and you were confident you could do that. So I guess our aspirants can go with this fact that they have to see how much time they have and what kind of interest they have,
Exactly.
right? Like you said, you didn't want to be bored with an optional, right? In that limited. Okay, very good. Um, After having studied this, right, this was your graduation subject, how much time do you think an optional like medical science will take if it has to be covered? How many months do you think you need to give dedicated to the optional?
I've started making notes for medical sciences from June, ma'am, and I've done it till I think September. And I've made the notes. I made hybrid notes. Like I've already been making notes during my university. Then those notes, the important things I used to take pics of them, and then the analytical part I used to write with the pen which we get for the tab. So in this way, adding on to your PDFs, in this way I was making the PDFs more and more accessible and easy. So that the base will be the same, but I will keep on adding the material which is required. And but that material is going to just address the need of UPSC and give me a more analytical view of that whatever issue it is. And then I've chosen few test series also, which generally people doesn't do for any kind of commerce or medical sciences kind of subjects, because they think that humanities is something which you have to go for test series. This all things can be done by previous year questions. That doesn't go that way, because if we see in optional, generally there will be group A and group B, and the selection of question will determine your marks also. And that has to be done again within 3 hours of time, which is again a big challenge. You're going to allot 15 minutes of time in choosing, and the rest of the 2 hour 45 minutes, it's very challenging to finish off the paper. So for doing that, you have to reduce your time. That you can do only by writing test series for 3 hours. So it's very important you write the test series also for any option, be it medical sciences also.
Yeah. So for you actually need to test yourself because you are used to a different kind of answer writing pattern, right? You might know it, right? But unless and until you've not written, so okay, this is actually a very, very good point, and I think a lot of aspirants are in that mindset कि हाँ, sociology के लिए we need to write the answer, but science के लिए maybe we can leave. So this will be very useful. Okay, so after your optional, again, let's come to that time period, your preparation, because you are a first attempt candidate, which is again exceptional. First attempt में you have All India rank 20, and you did that with medical science and getting such good marks. So it's important for us to understand how were you dividing your time. You said you started with medical science and ethics, right? Now everything is new for you, right? The exam process, the subject. So let's talk about prelims first. How much time did you give exclusively to prelims, right? You have mentioned this before, that everything has to be done simultaneously, right? So prelims exclusively, right before the exam, how much time did you give?
This is something which I have taken away again from a topper's talk, that prelims have to be started from March. At least you need to give 2 to 3 months of time. This was Atika Shukla's ma'am's strategy actually. That was the first video I've seen ever. So she was saying that you have to start from March, April and May, and then you have to be ready for prelims, because already you have the conceptual idea, just facts and test series very intensively, which you would have already started. I've started the test series of vision for prelims from October, but I was doing once in a 15-day, so that at least the subject wise tests I can do, so that I can keep modifying my notes for it. And once it is done by Feb ending, I have started writing the full length tests from March itself. Then other institutes full length tests also, because you have to keep the diversity in your mind. You tend to become overconfident or underconfident with one test series.
Yeah.
So for that diversity, I've allotted March and April. And another toppers, one more clue, that May should be your buffer. May doesn't come into count. If you're going to give multiple attempts, then probably this is the month you are going to work. I have many my friends who have been working the last 1 month because they have given interview and they have to write the prelims again. This is not for them, but those people who are going to give the very first attempt, I think you have to put your May under buffer, because it is the first time you're going to enter into this process, and you should also keep some days for being nervous, to enjoy that nervousness, and keep revising the test series which you have done before. So May has to be buffer month. Only then I think that was the way I've worked actually.
So you say 2 months for whole preparation, 1 month has buffer. So total 3 months is the suggestive time for a first attempt candidate, right?
That was how it worked for me, ma'am.
Yeah, but then we also had COVID and a little bit of derailment. So how did you deal with that when that happened and your prelims got pushed?
Firstly, when that announcement has come, we felt very frustrated. But the bright side of COVID was I haven't given medical sciences test series then. I have been writing daily answers since I have made my notes already. So the test series I've given then, and essay also, I was having an idea how an essay has to be done. But then again, I gave the test series of essay also, vision essay. I've just written 2 or 3 essays prior to that. So that the rest of the test series I've given then, I've taken another institutes also. I've started writing essays and started showing to my non-UPSC friend. She corrected number of essays. She started suggesting me the changes, and it improvised my essay and perspective altogether. So in this way, I've utilized the 3 months before prelims, that finishing of your optional test series, and again revising your essay, making yourself mains ready, but allotting 1.5 month for prelims again extensively.
Okay, after that, when the next new date came. Okay, so you made best of that extended time which you got on things which you missed out, right?
Yes,
So that I guess worked also.
Huh.
Okay, so with prelims, you have said you've written mock tests, right? So let's talk about the number, right? What was your number? How many mock tests did you write?
They generally say what's in a number. It's not just for age, but also in prelims test series, I think so, because your requirement is different. Each person tend to observe the things from different number of test series in a different way. For me, it worked out that I had to write some 2 to 3 institutes because I was having time also.
Yeah.
But what my seniors have suggested, that at least you have to write 2 institutes. Probably it should make up to somewhere around 30, so that you keep analyzing the full length test. And it is also important that you just don't write it. You keep analyzing and revising it. Only then it makes sense that you interlink the concepts. And when again a similar kind of question tend to come, you can still connect that neurons again and can lead yourself into that solution. So this was something, ma'am, which works out also.
Okay. So you said talk about analysis. When you are analyzing, right? You've given a prelims test and you have to analyze it. So what are you looking for in that? What is the point you need to focus on?
First thing, I think from test series, when you tend to analyze, I used to not watch the video, frankly, because it used to take away time of me. And one other thing I can say, probably being from science background, that whenever you tend to do something very passively, you just tend to hear the video. You don't analyze yourself. That doesn't get recorded in your memory actively. So I think I used to see the question and then I used to search in my notes, where is that question or subject from. Then I used to say, this is the answer, so why did I put some other wrong answer? In that way, I used to revise also. Because revision is a really very boring thing to be done. You never feel like to open the same book and keep revising. It's something which is very human to happen. So in that I used to substitute with test series. So in that way, prelims test series I used to use for revision. And yes, that was the way it made my revision also very easy.
Yeah. So you went through the paper and saw, okay, where are you missing out? And you're going back to the source. That's actually a very effective strategy because you will remember that, right? Because that's the
memory.
Place. Yes. This is where you have read it. So you can always go back and whatever is extra, you can add also. So that then augments your notes also.
Exactly. I think you took out the right point from it, man. That you are making a mistake, now you write the same mistake into the same notes which you have made. I have made that for history. I think my history notes have turned out very well because of the test series. I've made like probably some 70% become 100% only because of the test series which I've made. So that way your page memory comes to help. And I can say that during my mains writing also, and also during my prelims, when I was giving, I was literally getting the view of the page. Then I used to think Gulgulan to dekha hai, where did I see Gulgulan? It's
Yeah.
different thing that I didn't answer, but at least I was getting the idea of history and all.
Yeah.
So page memory does make a point.
Yeah. And then also it makes further revision also easier, right? Then you can just go to that one source which is now has increased, so usko revise karna bhi it's a little easier. Okay. So after this, let's talk about mains, right? So for mains, you have also done very well in your GS3, right? And GS3, if I say, is something which is not very standardized, right? It's not like there's something in one source which you can read. So how was the preparation in GS in general, and if you can talk specifically about GS3?
The fund of mains which I followed in simpler ways, first go through your previous year question papers and then dissect your syllabus, make the area from where they are asking, what is the demand and depth, then keep making your notes, keep writing the test series, keep enhancing your notes. And also while doing all these things, you should become some person who is analyzing this thing very actively. It should be in a flow that you are given a question and you are answering the question in a flow. That clarity of thought is very important for mains writing, because I've heard in one of the toppers talk that sir was saying that see, in 3 hours of time you are going to answer 20 questions. It is humanly impossible to keep thinking and writing an answer. So you should become that person who just thinks in that way. Only then I think that answers tend to be more qualitative. So when you're doing all these things, you should actively change yourself also, how you're going to see the issue and all. This is the major funda which goes for UPSC, and GS3 is nothing exceptional for it. When you think of internal security, you should use your movie experiences, should use your practical lessons which you are getting to view in the bus stop, and the way people at the chai tela are speaking on the economy, and all these things does matter in your answers also. So in that way, I think they created some difference. And other important thing is economic survey. Economic survey is something which I used to read. That part 2 I used to read extensively, and part 1 very very selectively. And that I used to do only after watching the videos in YouTube. Once I've watched the YouTube videos at 2x speed, and then I used to read the PDF, and that used to make my time period very very less. So more productive. That used to be more. The third important thing for any GS paper is current affairs. I think that there I can share the strategy of current affairs. That one thing though, that newspaper I used to save for the next day, and I used to read any of the, for example, Vision itself will give the daily news update. That comes in the next day. So in early morning I used to read the news update, and the newspaper which I have saved for the next day, I used to read the newspaper. So I know which are important now. So I will concentrate on them, and the important takeaways which I have to note for essay or any important idea which I can appreciate for ethics, that I used to make a note separately. And current affairs per se, apart from this, is Vision Monthly. Vision Monthly I used to read within, initially it used to take me some 5 to 7 days also. Then I've started finishing it within 1 to 2 days. It is possible to finish Vision Monthly once you get a good idea of how static subjects go on. Then after making this monthly, I used to segregate them into 4 books, GS 1, 2, 3, 4 for current affairs. So for example, AI, artificial intelligence. So if at all I'm getting some article from Vision Monthly, and if we see the Vision Monthly also, you'll just get a single line which is very important. They keep revising you that AI is so and so, these are all the AI initiatives of government, but the thing which has happened very recently is this thing. So I need to just note down that new initiative itself within my AI page. That way I think current affairs will become easy to be revised instead of completely reading the PDFs altogether at the end. And also you can impregnate instead that current affairs important thing into your static notes also once they are done. That way you can decrease the load of PDFs altogether, and you can keep revising it. and they become part of your mains notes again, because you're going to make just one note for mains and prelims.
Yeah.
So many revisions, lesser time, less burden, more easier to revise.
Okay. So about this note making also, I'll specifically ask you. So have you been making all your notes online
No, ma'am,
or
I'm
handwritten?
not very online person. I used
Like
to
you
make,
said first that you take pictures and then you write.
because medical science was very huge. I can't draw the diagrams all at once. So I
Yeah.
used to take the pics of those. Optional, I made everything online.
Okay.
I mean hybrid notes instead. But GS mostly I made handmade notes.
Handmade notes. Okay, and this is actually a very good tip that you have reoccurring topics, right? You're reading a monthly magazine, so you have topics which are coming again, like AI. It came, and after 5 months, it came again. Then the magazine will have the background, the definition. You can pick out and compile and reduce it. And if you are writing it, maybe at that place where AI was taught, right, in your science and tech section, then it can be further reduced, right? This is a very, very useful tip. We need to know, because ultimately, how will you revise, if that content keeps on increasing?
And most important thing, if some task is very tedious, when you classify it, then it is easy to approach it. And UPSC is no different, is not something which is different for it. When you segregate and keep yourself very clear of how things have to be, I think it's easy to approach it.
Yeah, it's easy to approach and then revise, right? Let's talk about answer writing particularly. When did you start answer writing? And again, about your mock tests also, I would like to know.
Yes, ma'am. I think I have to speak about it because like any other aspirant, I was watching the topper talk. As they say, I think answer writing is very, very important. You have to write it. So I started it during my optional preparation itself without no good idea of the GS. I wasted my 1 to 2 hours of time in the initial 1 to 2 months, which I think has been unproductive at a very important stage. So I thought, I think from my personal experience, answer writing should be done. Is something which is very important. But do it once you get a good idea of what the issue is also. That doesn't mean you're going to wait till March so that you'll start writing answer. You should be accountable to yourself also. That I'm going to complete my notes by October, November, and I'm going to start my answer writing. If you're someone from medicine background or background where you can write some answers very comprehensively, I don't think even that is required. Because the 3 hour tests are completely different from answer writing, writing a single answer.
Yeah.
So see what works for you. It hasn't worked for me, doesn't mean it doesn't work for you. But one simple thing is, don't start answer writing from day one. It doesn't make any sense actually.
Okay. And about your tests, tell us about your tests also. How many mock tests did you write for both your optional and for your GS?
Since I was getting the 3 months of leeway because of COVID, I have written 2 medical science test series. Each one was having some 6 and 8 tests subject wise, and then 2 marks each. And for GS, I've done, I think 2 institutes mains test series. And the thing which I did differently for mains was I've written subject wise tests within 1 month, so that I can get that subject clarity. I used to write art and culture answer also. I know I'm very bad at it. I know I'll get least marks in it, but it is important to write an answer which you don't know also. At least after making your complete finishing off your notes, because sometimes you may get such kind of answer. You need to reap that marks even from that question. So when you keep exposing yourself to something which you don't know, you tend to analyze it and at least give some sane approach to that answer. This was what I was doing for I think the second month in mains. So once I'm done with the subject wise test, the third month I was completely involved into the full length test of mock. So in that way I was making myself ready. And most important thing is, you have to go for mocks, full length mocks also. I made it a point that I'll give GS1 in the morning and GS2 in the afternoon. GS3 again the same way, same how it goes in the exam time. I made it that way along with the optional, at least for 2 times. I tried it. So I've seen that your hand really aches a lot. You'll be mentally exhausted. You feel like you wanted to throw the paper away. And answers doesn't tend to be very productive when you get yourself into that mental exhaustion. So this was something which I have found while giving giving our mocks. And yes, ma'am, I think this made my thing very easy when I was actually writing my mains also. I just felt it was some other vision mains which I was writing. I went, I've written, and I had my lunch, and then I went, I've written. This was something I followed already twice, so it is very
This
easy
is
to do.
actually, I'm actually finding a lot of practical tips from you. And this actually makes so much sense that you follow the same timetable, right? You're supposed to write 2 GS papers in one day, and most people have never done that. The first time they do it is it's in the exam. Because anybody who writes one test 3 hours, that day he feels कि आज तो बहुत कुछ कर लिया है, अभी आज कुछ और
And it
नहीं
is very
करना है.
human also.
Yes, it's very human because it's exhausting. But the point is कि you have to score equally well in the second paper.
And you know from where I've learned this? This is from a movie.
Okay.
It is from a movie in Telugu,
Yeah.
where that hero will be saying that if you are an ordinary person, you wanted to do something extraordinary, the only thing which makes you to do that thing extraordinary is practice. So that was some takeaway during my one of the low time. That's what, when you keep searching for an answer, you'll get answer from any corner. It is just that you need to be receptive to that answer. So that was how I thought I have to give marks also, like 2 marks per day.
Yes, actually, this also makes sense. So a lot of people will be listening to you, right? But everybody does not imbibe everything from everywhere, right? So it's if you are open, if you are receptive, and like you said, one more thing earlier, that you have to train yourself at first only, right? That 3 hours are only delivery. So all that training and preparation and becoming an analyst, like you said, you become that person. That has to happen before, right? So if you are open, you will get ideas from anywhere.
There is also some funny thing which I can share, because it is practical again.
Yeah.
That your hand tends to ache.
Yes.
It tends to ache after the second day, on the second day or so.
Yeah.
It is practical to occur. So I have found that I took the diclofenac gel with me, because nothing can stop you for getting that highest marks which you have worked a lot.
Yeah.
So I was putting the gel, and I was looking, is any other person also doing, or am I feeling very awkward? I've seen the other person also putting the tiger balms in their.
Acha. So everybody brings their balms.
So it's very practical that you have to go in a realistic way to understand the necessities, because you can't give a chance for something which you have worked for years.
Yeah. And not your muscles, right? They shouldn't be the ones stopping you. It's okay if your brain doesn't know the answer, that's different, right? But this is something mechanical which you can fix, right?
Exactly.
Yes, this is a very good tip. So we have a doctor in the house. So she's telling you, your hand is aching, use tiger balm. I mean, not tiger balm, but yeah, diclofenac or whatever you want to use.
I'm not branding any kind of.
No. We're not talking about branding, but yes, whatever works for you, whatever helps your hand. But first, you have to test if your hand is aching, right? That is also going to be different for different
And
people.
there will be many people that they don't even take the lunch and keep writing papers.
Yes, exactly.
It is very practical that your glucose level tend to drop, and you'll tend to underperform. You'll get confused within 1 hour of time. I think you have to have that decent amount of food also in between.
Yeah.
And this thing again you can try in your mock.
Yeah.
ये खाना खाते वक्त क्या
नींद
मेरा
तो नहीं आ रही है.
नींद आ रही. Very common complaint which shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And हालत खराब हो रही क्या. So that food which suits to you also you can test actually.
Yeah. On prelims में भी I think it's very helpful क्योंकि जो second paper है that is CSAT that needs you to be more alert. और उसमें if you are like calorie deficit तो फिर बहुत गड़बड़ होने के chance है. So this is smart. Okay. Let's talk about the current affairs preparation. You have spoken at length about the magazine, the news today also which comes daily. What about the newspaper? How were you doing that?
Again, no idealism. It is the Hindu which I used to read. Any one newspaper is sufficient, the need. Only during the interview preparation that I had to read 2 newspapers. I thought I can limit it off for 3 months, but it went to 9 months, which I was feeling very, very pathetic myself, because 2 to 3 newspapers is something each and every aspirant will be feel bored of. I used to take some 4 hours just for the newspapers. So yes, ma'am, it was just the Hindu till the mains, and then interview if you want, you can go for any economic focused newspaper along with the Hindu. I think it will suffice.
Okay. And yes, you had a very long interview phase, right? When was your interview?
Mine was on September 6th.
Okay. So it happened in September, right? And again, along with the newspaper, what else is required for that interview preparation?
Interview is the most interesting thing, as everyone will say, and it's not an exception for any aspirant as altogether. First thing is your DAF, because that is what they are going to look. It's not even you, it's your DAF which is being first analyzed by the panelists. So filling the DAF is one important thing, and then preparing on the DAF and related aspects. And second thing, having an opinion on each and every issue. And this issue opinion only tends to form when I think when two people tend to talk, because you as a person keep analyzing a thing, you never form an opinion. Only when a dissent comes, then you will say no, 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 it is not right, because this is something which goes in this way. I think the conversation mode, you tend to form your opinions also. So I was having good number of friends where I used to discuss in Hyderabad with my friends who were again appearing for interview, where I formed some balanced opinions, but those opinions were of mine altogether. They were having different opinions, but then it should be yours also. So in that way, I was framing myself for interview, because the important thing which works out for interview is clear mind and then being confident. So those two things will work out in interview.
Okay. So you are preparing, you mentioned, okay, sources. You prepare your DAF, you update yourself on current affairs, and then you engage in any way, right? So you must have given some mock interviews also.
I've given many. I am someone, I think, as I said you, ma'am, that you are ordinary, you want to become extraordinary, practice. So the same thing I was doing for prelims test series, same thing for mains and interviews, something I felt it's not an exception, you have to do. So I gave mocks, like literally, since it has already extended, I thought I'll give some 7 to 10, but I think I gave 12 to 15 also, because of increased more time. So yes, in that way I gave more mocks also, ma'am. And apart from that, I think when we friends tend to talk, we tend to make a conversation more engaging also, which and some words which we tend to use or your friend tend to use, you can directly engage the panel into it, because your answer is something which the panel is going to catch and is going to use for the next question.
Yeah.
In that way, I think the interview can be actually prepared for.
Okay, so was your interview on expected lines? Like you've prepared, you've given 12 mocks. So was it what you were thinking, or did they surprise you?
I was having the same issue that out of some 80% of mock interviews went towards health. If they ask me something apart from it, I may not lose, at least in the interview. But yeah, it went with the health only.
Okay, your final interview was also on
health.
what you were expecting, and that you must have had been
I think I could have done masters in public health because of the 9-month period of time. Because the health sector, me and my friend again from the same college, we were selected for interview. So we were sitting together for 2 hours, like online, on phone, and we kept discussing on all the things which you can think of health. And it turned out to be some 80-page PDF altogether with our notes, like what if an IAS officer maternal mortality, what if a medical officer maternal mortality, all these kind of innovative steps also we were thinking.
Okay, so now you have excellence in public health also. You will definitely get to use it, when you actually go to feed. Okay, so after the result, after this glorious result, what if this was not the result? What was your plan? If I can ask you this, okay? If you were not in the list, then what was supposed to happen?
I think it's the most scary thing which can break you apart. Because no one thinks that, no one wants even to be thinking that your name doesn't appear in the list once you have given the interview. It is a very low point which any person can enter. But if you are that person who is going to stand in this stage, then my all salutes to you, that you deserve that applaud and you deserve that next attempt to make yourself more glorious and to be recognized, because it is very hard for a person to get up once after getting injured. And I'm just a very small person in front of those kind of people, because it takes a lot of courage for someone to stand or pick up the parts which have fallen apart. So if it was not the case, I was saying to myself, so prelims, okay, just 1 month of time, so probably I may not get. So what? The next prelims is in the June itself. So 7-month period of time, I'll keep working, because it's already 2 to 3 years of time I've not worked. I will enjoy working there so that I can divert my attention from my failure. So at least 2 to 3 months of working, then I'll keep doing my ground process again, the mains which went wrong and all. Then if this prelims doesn't work, then next prelims I'll give in June. There I'm sure, because I learn from my failures. I can't waste my failure just for the sake of me being low,
Yeah.
because I know what I have to do. I have that clarity, I'll do it. That's it. That was what I was thinking. What if?
So again, this is something which I think an anecdote we can frame out of this, that you don't waste your failures. That's actually big, you know, that we think of failures as something negative which has happened. But when you talk about not wasting it, that means you've made it a resource, right? It's something which is going to give you something. But yes, you should be receptive to taking that. Beautiful. Um, Tell me what has this journey, right? Now this is done. You wanted to become a civil servant, you've become a civil servant. So what is, you are not an aspirant anymore, right? Now you are, you know, now you are an IAS officer. So what have you taken from this journey? Everything that has happened in this last year.
Ma'am, from my personal experience, I can say you that Srija wasn't the way when she has started her UPSC journey. Now she knows where to say no, where to keep that stop, and where to start or make a new start again. And also I think a person tends to understand the prejudices which one enters into whenever he or she wants to talk about any kind of issue, where to limit it and where to again restart it. And I think UPSC also teaches you that nothing is permanent, just a transient thing you will enter into, and you should not get attached to anything, be it success or failure. That is some important thing which any officer has to know, because you'll be someone who will be working all together for 1 year in one field, then suddenly you'll be posted into another field. The other officer who enters into it will be applauded. It's very common to happen in any government sector. Then you shouldn't be discouraged that that person is going to be applauded. It is your duty, you have done it, and you have moved. It is your contentment which matters all the more. So that is something which UPSC teaches you also. Yes, ma'am. This is how UPSC, the friends whom I met during the time of UPSC, my friends who used to speak to me for hours together when I was low, and what UPSC syllabus has taught me has made me to realize.
Yeah. Okay. So definitely you're going to take away all of that, right, from here. That yes, don't get attached, and you know where to limit yourself. All right. So tell me this thing that along this journey, obviously you've learned you're not being attached or detached, but of course today it's your high, but there would be some dwindling points also. So there's this one question I like to ask: how did you de-stress, right? Stress in this whole process, because you've set a goal for yourself, that is bound to come. So what were you telling yourself, and what were the things you were doing to de-stress?
During the initial phase, because of paucity of time, I used to de-stress myself with small activities. Probably singing. I'm good at singing, so I used to sing. I used to listen to songs. You can learn a lot from the lyricist and lyrics also, if you tend to give a good ear to it. So that one I used to do. And movies also, not very frequently in the initial period, but during the COVID time and mains, I used to watch movies extensively, because they can also give you a perspective. So that was something I was doing. And whenever I felt low, I was speaking to my friends. My friends used to start the conversation, used to inspire me. Then we used to talk an issue. We used to go till dowry harassment, and then women empowerment, and then that was the way we used to end at a high. Yeah, this I think friends are the best stress buster for any person to have, and this was the way I was doing.
Okay. So you were into music and movies, of course, whichever. This can be different for some
And
people.
also, I think meditation has made a difference. I can say you that being a doctor, I used to not very much think of meditation as something which can help you. I used to think something very unrealistic, very passive thing. It's not made for me. But I think with meditation, you tend to organize your thought process. That 10 to 15 minutes of time which you give to yourself will tend to make you feel that pride that yes, you are working for yourself, and it does matter that you settle down your thoughts for at least 10 to 15 minutes. I think diary writing also.
Yeah.
When I tend to write my diary, I used to feel happy for the moments which I lived for that day. And also that whenever I used to turn back my pages, that remember remarkable days or that low points, that used to make me think over the issues again and give me a new perspective altogether. Yeah, your hobbies should be in such a way that it develops you as a person. So yes, ma'am, having a hobby is a must, and UPSC is also a phase of your life. Shouldn't keep UPSC and life apart.
Yeah.
You have to live during the process of beautiful journey of UPSC also.
Yes, and you need to have whatever. This is something I read this in your DAF also, right? This was in your DAF also, and it can be different, but yes, it is important that you do not limit yourself just to this. This is has to be a major part because it is that extensive. But then again, you need to do something which keeps you calm because it's a long journey,
Yes.
right? Okay. In this whole journey, right, you've had friends, you have had, of course, there's always family support, and there are a lot of things which you do for yourself. And along with that, you got some professional help also, right, from coaching. So tell us in that final result, the final product, what do you think worked for you, or how is Shrija here?
I think if I say an answer for this, then I would be lying, because there is no single sentence which can define what has made me to reach to this rank. Because there will be many things which directly and indirectly will push you towards what you call as success. It is just that they generally say, which is very obvious, everyone will know, that it's not the success is not the destination. It's just it's the journey. It is very simple to hear, but very actually very expressive to understand it, because it is the journey which matters. You enter into the Mount Everest, and it will be just 3 to 5 seconds of time you spend in the peak. It is all through the number of days which you travel to reach to the peak actually which matters. In the same way, the rank also, it is just something which I'll enjoy probably for 1 month more, but it was a journey which will live with me throughout my complete career. So I think there are many things which go into it. Never be idealistic, that I can say you. Never be idealistic, never be attached to your the destination, because destination is something, if you get attached to, you will be either feeling bad or good about it, which is again very transient. And always try to take decisions by self, because only if you do something for yourself, you will feel that happiness. You will be self accountable also. Should never lie to yourself. It's okay if you're lying to someone else, but it is very risky to lie to yourself, because the only person you tend to be with each and every second is you. And it is very wrong to lie to yourself or do something which you don't like to do.
Yes, so be true to yourself, right? That's what is the most important thing. And then, of course, success and the journey, that's going to come, right, in the whole process. So Shrija, we are going to conclude here. We would like you to say some things, some words of motivation or some pieces of advice, because you have watched so many toppers, right, and they have inspired your journey. So we are sure a lot of people are going to get inspired from you. So what would you want to say? What would be your piece of advice?
Probably the words which I can say you, which can motivate you, is something which I have again picked from my friends who have broken apart, but were standing, but could stand still to the storm which is trying to overtake them, to give another attempt. So I can just say you, it's common to give another attempt. Things may not happen in a single attempt, which happened to me, but it's okay to take another attempt, and it's also your responsibility that towards yourself, that you have made a decision that you are going to write civil services, and if you are true to yourself that you are working hard for your journey, and you have come each and every attempt, you are coming very closer to it. It's your responsibility to continue the journey, but at the same time, it's your responsibility to know where you have to put that full stop to your journey, because life is much larger than UPSC. So take a very wise judgment, because 20 to 30 years is the most productive and useful time. Never waste it for any kind of exam, be it UPSC also, unless until you are sure that you are going to make it. And be responsible for your dreams also. Don't leave them just because you're not feeling good about it or you're feeling low. That will make you feel bad after years.
Yeah. So be responsible for your dreams. That's going to be our takeaway. Shrija, it has been really pleasant, surprising, and of course, with a lot of practical tips, we are going to be ending this session.
Thank you, ma'am.
We wish you all the best for whatever you do from here. and we hope a lot of success stories keep adding in your life.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.